Hi everyone, welcome back to All About the Sound, learning English easier with the 3P approach. We are continuing with the third P, phonics, and in phonics we do something called word work. We take our words one at a time and we break them down into their components, into their syllables, and from their syllables into the beginning, middle, and ending parts of each syllable. There is an easy way to do this, or something that will help us recognize our phonemes and our graphemes as we are proceeding along with our word work. And that is called the sound box. Yes, sound boxes are used in primary classes to help young learners learn English, but they can also be very beneficial for adult learners of English as well. The sound box is also called the Elkonin box. And these boxes help us to break down our graphemes, those letters or letter combinations that represent a phoneme, a sound, so that we can pick up the phonemes in the words and we can see how they are represented by certain letters or letter combinations. It is a great little tool for helping us learn English. So let's proceed. Sound boxes, or Elkonin boxes, as you can see on this slide, are just boxes in which we can place our graphemes. Or, the way I like to do it, we can create our own sound boxes by drawing boxes around each grapheme. Our grapheme, remember, represents a phoneme, so it is still all about the sound, what we're hearing. Certain letters and certain letter combinations will represent a particular sound. Also known as Elkonin boxes. These boxes help us to pick out our phonemes, our sounds, the distinct sounds that make up each English word. And they help us to connect them to the graphemes, the letters we are seeing or the letters we'll be using to represent each sound. So these letters can be single letters or letter combinations, as we will see as we proceed. So when we're using Elkonin boxes or sound boxes, we bring the word down to the syllable. The first step in using sound boxes when we're working with phonemes, for phoneme recognition and sound boxes, we work with one syllable at a time. So our first step then is to break down the word into syllables. Some one-syllable words or syllables can have as little as one sound to them, like ah, or they can have as many phonemes or sounds as 7 in one syllable. 7 phonemes represented by 7 different graphemes. A grapheme, remember, is not necessarily the letter that you would think should be there. It could be a combination of letters that make one sound, or it could be less than that to make one grapheme. So we can use sound boxes when we are encoding a word, which is building a word, or decoding a word, breaking a word down for its phonemes, graphemes, and morphemes, which are the meaning. Morpheme, again, is meaning. Phoneme is sound, and the graphemes are the letters or letter combinations that represent each sound. So we can use them when we are building words. And when we build words, remember, we are trying to say a word. We are writing a word or spelling a word that may be dictated to us. We can use these boxes by putting the special graphemes that represent each morpheme into the box it belongs in. So when we're encoding, we can put the graphemes that represent each of the sounds we were hearing or the sounds we were wanting to produce in a particular box. You see the word that we're trying to say here is ship. So I have the 3 boxes. I know it's 3 phonemes, 3 sounds that I'm trying to put into these boxes. The first box is a sound represented by the grapheme SH. So that's just an example of how we can use sound boxes in encoding. They can be used in encoding, but more often than not, we use sound boxes when we are decoding, breaking down words. So for this particular section, we'll be focusing on decoding words. using sound boxes. So for decoding, we'll be using boxes for this process when we do our word work. We'll be, instead of placing the graphemes inside a box, we'll be drawing the graphemes around the words, the letters or letter combinations, which are our graphemes, which represent each sound. So we'll be picking up our sound by writing or drawing a box around each sound that we're hearing, or again, more particularly around the grapheme, the letters or letter combinations that represent that sound. As you can see here, we use the word ship again. I had the word ship, I'm now trying to decode it. So I put a box around the sound. The first sound I'm hearing is the sh sound, which is represented by the grapheme SH. 2 letters making one sound because it's a digraph. Then I put a box around the I, the vowel sound. Then finally I put a box around the P. There are 3 phonemes in ship. The first one is sh, so it gets a box. The second one is I, so it gets a box. And the third one is P, so it gets a box. Each sound I'm hearing is represented by a grapheme. A grapheme is a letter or a letter combination used to represent that sound. And each of those phonemes or graphemes get their own box. So how do we begin the decoding process using these Elkonin boxes or sound boxes? First thing we need to do is chunk. Break the word down into syllables, which are word rooms if we're using our apartment analogy, or vowel-containing word parts. Vowel-containing word parts because they must have a vowel sound. Let's look at the word restraints. We're given the word restraints. We will break it down into its 2 syllables, and we'll be doing a separate PowerPoint presentation on how to break down words into syllables right after this one. But for now, we will know that we are breaking it between the E and the S in restraints. I now have 2 syllables. My first one is re, R-E, and my second syllable is spelled straints, S-T-R-A-I-N-T-S. Then, once we have our syllables broken down, we begin to work with 1 syllable at a time. We work with re, which is 2 syllables, the R and the E, and then we work with straints. So for today, we're going to look at the second syllable, straints. Strengths. So continuing along with the word restraints, and you will see the seat belts is what may be a safety restraint in a car. You'll see a picture of that. So let's look at this word a little bit more closely when it comes to sound boxing or breaking it up into phonemes, the sounds we're hearing. We know that restraints can be broken down into 2 syllables, re and straints. Re only has 2 phonemes. Re. I'm hearing the and the E sound. Re. 2 phonemes, 2 sounds. The R will get a sound box. The E will get a sound box. It's straints, the second syllable that we are looking at. Strengths. Strengths has 7 phonemes. There are 7 distinct sounds in the syllable strengths. Remember that we are counting the sounds and not the letters. We are counting the sounds and not the letters. Phonemes can be represented by a combination of different letters. So that's why we can't focus on the letters. We are focusing on the sound, and then we say, okay, what letters represent that sound in the grapheme? And then we box the grapheme. You got that? So once we have our syllables broken down and we're looking at 1 syllable at a time, we go back to that beginning, middle, ending approach that we used in our word work in the last PowerPoint presentation. Beginning, middle, and ending. So the beginning, we check to see if there is a beginning to our syllable. Our beginning is a consonant wall, a consonant wall. And then we have the middle, which is the vowel heart or the vowel sound we are hearing in that word part. And then we have the ending consonant wall. So we have a vowel sound between two consonant walls in the classic word. I say the classic word part or one syllable word because sometimes this is not the case. Sometimes we do not have any beginning walls or ending walls, but we always have to have a vowel sound. So again, we begin our boxing, this part of the word work, using sound boxes with the beginning, middle, and ending up. So when it comes to our sound boxes, each sound in the syllable gets its own box. So each of the graphemes that are making the beginning consonant walls will get a sound box. Each vowel sound, which is represented by its grapheme, will get its own sound box. Each consonant sound I'm hearing at the ending of the syllable, word part, or vowel containing word room will also get a sound box. Each sound in a syllable will get its own box. Each sound is represented by the grapheme. So we are looking for the grapheme, and it is the grapheme that we will be putting our boxes around. So though we are going to use the beginning, middle, and ending approach to each syllable we are looking at in our word work, it's important to remember that not all words have a single beginning consonant wall. Some may have a double consonant wall, some may have a triple, or some may have no consonant wall. Sometimes the word part will open with a vowel sound. We still call that the middle because we're dealing with the vowel sound, but we'll be checking to see if there's no consonant wall. So if there is no consonant wall, we'll say there is no beginning to that word part. They also may not have a single consonant wall at the end. That too may be missing if it is an open syllable that ends with a vowel sound. Or they can have a double consonant wall at the end of the word. So just remember, different numbers of boxes may be required for each word, never just 3, though in some cases some words will have 3. Remember, when we're talking about phonics, it is all about the sound. Even though we've introduced the grapheme, we still need to be able to count the sounds, not the letters. The amount of letters will not adequately tell us how many sounds we are hearing. So let's look, for example, at these 5 little words. Each of these words has the same amount of phonemes. Do you know how many phonemes are in these words? In no, as in no, you can't go. As in by, he's standing by the door. As in lie, I need to lie down. As in high, how high can you fly your kite? Or as in an, I would like to eat an apple. Each of these little words contains 2 phonemes. Though not all of them consist of only 2 letters, each of these words, which can act as a syllable because they are 1-syllable words, contains 2 sounds. Let's take the first word, no. We look at the beginning of the word, as we do when we have our syllable, and we see N. We know that no starts with the N sound, and that N is one consonant wall, one consonant beginning wall. So we make a box around the N. That N is a grapheme that represents a phoneme N, and it deserves a box. The vowel sound, which is in the middle of our word part, is O. O deserves a box. Do we have an ending consonant vowel? No, we do not. What about by? By. We hear the B sound represented by the B. We hear the I sound represented by the Y. Even though Y is a consonant, it can be used instead of I or E in some English words. We have two phonemes, therefore two sound boxes. We have a beginning consonant vowel B. We have the middle vowel sound Y, but we do not have an ending consonant vowel. We move on to lie. Lie, again, two phonemes. We hear the L, which is represented by the letter L, a one consonant vowel. Then we have IE in the middle of the word part. IE is I. It represents the I phoneme. So IE is in one box. Then we move on to high. We hear the H as represented by the H, a single consonant vowel at the beginning of our word part or one syllable word. We make the H into one box. Then we hear I at the end. IGH, another box. It too deserves one box, even though there are three letters. 3 letters equals one grapheme representing one phoneme. Then we have an. Do we have anything at the beginning of our word part or one syllable word? No, there is no beginning consonant vowel. We begin in the middle with the vowel sound, A, which is represented by the letter A. Letter A is the grapheme. We put that in a sound box. Then we have a single ending consonant vowel, N. We put that in a box. The N is representing that sound. Moving on to the next one. All these words have how many phonemes, do you think? Cat, that, and height. They have 3 phonemes. 3 phonemes. Let's look at cat. Cat begins with the letter C, but what we're hearing is the k sound. So that C is a single consonant vowel at the beginning of the word or word part, and we put that in a sound box. Then we move to the middle of the word part or one syllable word, and we hear a. So that is represented by the letter A. We put that in a box. We end, in the ending of our word part is a T sound, represented by the letter T, another single consonant vowel. We put that in a box. We had 3 sound boxes, 3 graphemes, 3 phonemes. Moving on to that. That. The first sound we hear in that is th. The is a digraph. We put that T and the H into one box because those 2 letters are one grapheme. They represent one sound. Then we move on to the middle and we hear A. That is represented by the letter A. We put that in a sound box. Then we move on to the ending of our word part or one syllable word, T, which is represented by the T. DH is in a sound box. A, the middle of our word, is in a sound box, and the ending is in a sound box, a single consonant vowel at the end. Let's look at height. H is the beginning sound we hear. That is represented by the letter H, a consonant sound, a single consonant vowel at the beginning of our word or word part. Then we have a vowel sound to be found in the middle. Every syllable has a vowel sound. Our vowel sound here is I. But that I is represented by a grapheme that has 4 letters in it. EIGH is one grapheme representing one sound, even though there are 4 letters in it. So we put a box around the E, the I, the G, and the H. At the ending of the word, we have another single consonant vowel. We hear a T, which is represented by the letter T. That letter T is a grapheme. We put a box around that. So we have in each of the second line, in each of these words in the second line, 3 phonemes, 3 graphemes, 3 sound boxes. Let's move on. And we're moving on to look at some more words and the phonemes we're hearing in these words. We are counting phonemes, not letters. Look at these words, stop and codes. How many phonemes are you hearing in both these words? Stop and codes. If you said 4 phonemes, you are correct. Each of these words has 4 different sounds represented by 4 different graphemes. So we will be requiring 4 sound boxes. Let's look at stop. In the beginning of our word part, we have a double consonant wall. And it's a consonant blend, therefore we're hearing each consonant in a consonant blend. We hear this as represented by the letter S and the T as represented by the letter T. St, st. 2 phonemes in that beginning consonant wall. Therefore, we have 2 sound boxes in our beginning consonant wall. Moving on to the middle part of our word or word part, we have our vowel sound, and we hear a short O sound. That short O sound is represented by the letter O. Then we move on to the ending of our word or word part, or one syllable word, and we have p, represented by the letter P. That gets a sound box. So we have a sound box around the S, a sound box around the T, a sound box around the O, and a sound box around the P for 4 sound boxes, 4 graphemes, 4 phonemes. Let's move on to codes. Codes. We also have 4 phonemes here. We see the letter C and we hear the k sound. C is representing the k sound. It is a single consonant wall at the beginning of our word part or one syllable word. We put a box around the C. That is our grapheme for our phoneme. Then we have the vowel sound in the middle of our word or word part. And we have the O. We're hearing the O because of the E after the letter D. That E is a magic E, making the vowel in the middle say its name. So we're hearing O. We put a box around the O. Then we move on to the ending of our consonant. And we see a D for the D sound. That is deserving of another box. D is a grapheme representing the D sound, and it gets a box. We're going to move right to the end to the S sound. Because in codes, I hear codes. I hear the S at the end. I put a box around the S because S represents a sound. What about that E? All magic E's are silent. We do not hear them. So what we tend to do is put an X through the E just so we know that we're not hearing it. We're hearing the C, the O, the D, and the S. So we'll have 4 sound boxes for those words. Moving on to changes and thumps. How many phonemes are you hearing in these words? Yes, you are hearing 5 phonemes, even though some of these words may have up to 6 letters. What we're hearing in changes, she changes her clothes much too often. Changes. We're hearing ch for the beginning of our word part. Ch is 2 letters, yes, but it's making 1 sound. It is a digraph. So CH gets a box on its own for our beginning 1 phoneme wall. Then we're moving on to the middle of our word and we hear the vowel sound. Again, we have an E after the G. That means that vowel in the middle is saying its name. We hear A, che, A. So we put a box around the A. We move on to our ending of our word part or one syllable word, and we have a triple consonant wall. We hear the N sound, so we put a box around the N. The N is a grapheme that represents the phoneme N. Then we move on, we hear ch, ch. That is around the G. The box goes around the G because G is a grapheme that represents the ch sound. We're going to move right to the end because after ch, I hear s, ch, ch. So the S is the next sound I'm hearing, this sound. A box goes around the S. What about that E? You're right, it's a magic E. It is silent, we're not hearing it, so we can put a box through the E. Let's move on to the syllable we were working on from the beginning of this presentation. In restraints, our second syllable is strengths. Strengths. And as I've said before, there are 7 phonemes in strengths. Where are those 7 phonemes? STR is a triple consonant wall at the beginning of our word part. A triple consonant wall. 3 phonemes. It's a consonant blend where each of the consonants is heard. We hear those 3 consonant sounds. We hear the is, so we put a box around that. We hear the t, so we put a box around the T. We hear the, so we put a box around the R. 3 boxes at the beginning of our consonant, our word part. Then we're moving on to the middle, which is our vowel sound. What are we hearing? A, A. Now that A is represented by 2 vowels. AI are a grapheme that has 2 letters in it. AI is a grapheme that has 2 letters in it, making 1 phoneme sound, and that is A. So AI gets a box. Moving on to the end of the word, I have another triple consonant wall, meaning there are 3 distinct sounds being heard at the end of the word part. N, N, and it's represented by the grapheme N. It gets a wall. T gets a box, and S gets a box. All these words get a box. So all these letters get a box, with the exception of the AI, which is 1 box. So that's 7 phonemes, represented by 7 graphemes, represented by 7 sound boxes. Why might there be more letters and sounds in these words? Some beginning vowels are double layered in blends, in consonant blends, like the S, T in stop. S is represented by the letter S, and T sound is represented by the letter T. They both keep their sounds at the beginning of the word part. So they're called consonant blends, and they make a double consonant wall. Or the walls at the beginning of a word part can be tripled, as this, making the represented by the S, the C represented by the K being represented by the C sound, and the R being represented by the R in scratch. So we have SCR, 3 different graphemes at the beginning of our word part. Each of these letters represent a consonant sound and get their own box. We also know that vowel sounds may be represented by 1 vowel letter, as the in cat is, but it can be represented by up to 4 vowel letters or even consonant letters. Combination of E, I, G, H, for example, in 8. In 8. E, I, G, H is the E sound that we hear in 8. Some letters are also silent, like the magic E in code or the second I in vowel. So we see the letter, but we cannot hear it. So it is not a phoneme, and it does not get to be considered a grapheme, nor is it considered to be worthy of a sound box. Why might there be less letters than sounds in these words or word parts? Digraphs, sometimes it takes 2 letters to represent 1 sound, like the th that we've seen in that. The th will share 1 sound box. TH is the grapheme that represents 1 phoneme, and that phoneme is so it gets one box. There's also trigraphs. Trigraphs are triple consonant walls. Sometimes it takes 3 letters to represent one sound, like the tch in catch. It will share one box. So if I had catch at the end of it, C-A-T-C-H as my ending consonant wall, I hear one sound, one consonant wall represented by one grapheme, the TCH, so the TCH belongs in one box. So let's look at the middle of the syllable. Whether we have a consonant wall or not, as soon as we hit the vowel sound, it is the middle of our word part or one syllable word. It is important to remember that every syllable will have only one vowel sound and therefore only one sound box, no matter how many vowel letters we are seeing in that syllable. So when we get to the middle of our word part, we're hitting the heart of the word part, whether we have consonant walls or not. Once we hit that part, once we hit the vowel sound, no matter how many letters there are, there's only one vowel sound per syllable. So one sound box representing the heart of the word or the vowel sound. It is the consonant beginning and endings that make the extra boxes, okay? The vowel sound will never require an extra box, but sometimes the beginning of our word part or one syllable word or the ending of our word part or one syllable word will require extra boxes. So let's look at the first one. Splash. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. The vowel sound in the middle is the eh, and that's in the 4th box. But the first 3 boxes belong to the splash, a triple consonant blend. The s sound is represented by the S, the p sound is represented by the P, sound is represented by the L. Then again we have our short A sound represented by the letter A in the middle or the heart of our word part. The ending, consonant ending, as you can see, only has one box, SH. Do you know why? Yes, because it only makes one sound. It is a digraph, okay? 2 letters that represent one sound. And that creates one grapheme, one phoneme. Then we have French. French. I speak French. So we see, again, we have 5 boxes, and we have 6 letters. Why is that? Because we have, in the beginning of our word part, we see a double consonant wall, a consonant blend, where each of the consonants we're hearing keeps its sound, and we have the sound represented by the F, the sound represented by the R. We get to the heart of our word part, the center of it, the middle, and we have our vowel sound, which is the short E, sound. We move on to our ending of our word part, where we see a double consonant wall. Even though there's 3 letters, it's still a double consonant wall because we only have 2 phonemes, right? So we see the n sound represented by a single letter N. It gets a box. Then at the very end, we have the ch sound. Ch sound gets one box between those 2 letters because it's that's right, it's a digraph. Let's move on to the very last one. In restraints, our second syllable was strains. So we see at the beginning a triple consonant wall. Each of the consonant sounds we're hearing gets its own grapheme and its own sound box. We hear the S, the T, and the R all getting their own sound box. We move to the middle of our word, our vowel sound, and we hear that A sound. That A sound is represented by AI, 2 letters, 1 grapheme, 1 phoneme. Then we move on to our ending of our word part, which is again another triple consonant wall. Each of the consonants in this triple wall are being heard. Their sound is being heard. We have the N sound represented by the letter N, it gets a box. We hear the T sound represented by the letter T, it gets a box. We hear the sound represented by the letter S, and it gets a box. 7 phonemes, seven phonemes, 7 graphemes, and we have 7 sound boxes, even though there are 8 letters in this word part. So let's visually box those sound box, those words we talked about in lesson 7, in slide 11, sorry. Let's begin with those 2 phoneme words. No, by, lie, hi, and an. This is how they will look in their sound boxes. My boxes are very messy. It doesn't really matter how messy they are as long as we see the distinction between each phoneme. Then we have cat, church, height. Now, as you can see in church, we have this is a new word I'm adding. I guess I didn't have it on the other one. We have 3 phonemes because we have CH at the consonant wall. It's a single consonant wall because it's only making one sound. It's a digraph, but it contains 2 letters. And so that begets, the CH gets 1 box. At the end, we see that same digraph as the ending consonant wall. 1 sound, 1 grapheme, though there's 2 letters in it because it is a digraph. Why do I have a box around the U and the R? Not everyone does this, but I tend to box what I call my R-controlled vowels. U, R often go together to form the sound in a word. So though it is a vowel sound and a consonant together, I often sound box them together, creating 1 sound box. So that's why I put U and R together. In a couple of presentations from now, we'll go over those or R-controlled vowels. Let's move on to the next one, stop and codes. So this is our 4 phoneme words, 4 sound box words. As you can see, I crossed out the E, the silent E, because it doesn't make a sound. So you can put it in a box as long as we show that it has an X across it and we're not hearing it. Changes. Each of those letters, we see have a digraph at the front. That's why there's 1 box that the C and H contain. And then we put an X through the E. 1 box for the sound, the T and H grapheme. And finally, strengths. We know we have 7 phonemes, 7 represented by 7 graphemes, and we have them contained in 7 sound boxes, even though there are 8 letters. So that's why I keep saying it's important to know we are not counting letters, we're counting the sounds we're hearing. So let's review a bit what we've heard so far in this presentation. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to give you the possible answers. I'm going to give you a minute to think about it, and then I will provide the answer. So let's begin with number 1. The sound boxes used in phonics are also called, A, elegant boxes, A, elegant boxes, B, Alconen boxes, B, Alconen boxes, C, elephant boxes, C, elephant boxes, or D, electric boxes. Electric boxes. Which of those is correct? The correct answer is B, Alconen boxes. That's where the sound box is. I don't care if you get too hung up in that word, but just know if you hear it or see it, we're talking about sound boxes. Number 2, each letter in a syllable will be boxed. Is that true or false? Will each letter in a syllable get a sound box? True or false? You can always pause this if I'm answering too quickly, if you need more time. The answer, of course, is false. We are not counting letters, we are counting sounds. So some letters we may combine with other letters to form one grapheme representing one phoneme. So the answer to that is false. Number 3, we will use sound boxes more when we are encoding, building words, than decoding, breaking down words for sound and meaning. We will use sound boxes more when we are encoding, building words, than we will when we're decoding, breaking down words for sound and meaning. Is that true or false? And the answer is false. Though you can use sound boxes when you're encoding, we will be using sound boxes more when we're decoding. We will be drawing our sound boxes around the phonemes that we're here, or the graphemes that represent the phonemes that we are hearing. Are you ready to continue? Number 4, the first step in decoding using sound boxes is to break down the word into syllables so we can work with one syllable at a time. The first step in decoding using sound boxes is to break down the word into syllables so we can work with one syllable at a time. Is that true or false? And that is true. That is our first step. We need to break down the word into syllables because word work, the beginning, middle, and ending approach, is all based on the syllable. So there are the vowel containing word part, or the one syllable word. But we need to be working with one syllable at a time. So our first step is to break down the word into syllables. Number 5, a syllable or one syllable word will have no more than 4 phonemes, therefore only 4 graphemes, and therefore only 4 sound boxes. A syllable or one syllable word will have no more than 4 phonemes, therefore 4 graphemes, and therefore only 4 sound boxes. Is that A, true or false? And the answer, of course, is false. We've seen words and we're working with words, one syllable words, and syllables, vowel containing syllables, that had up to 7 phonemes, therefore 7 sound boxes. So yes, we can have up to 7 phonemes in a syllable. You ready to continue? There may be more than one sound box in the middle part of each word. There may be more than one sound box in the middle part of each word part. Is that true or false? There may be more than one sound box in the middle part of each word part. Is that true or false? And the answer is false. There can only be one sound box, one phoneme representing the vowel sound in the middle of each word part. There's always a vowel sound in a syllable, but there can only be one. Okay? Every syllable only has one vowel sound. Therefore, it will only have one phoneme represented by one grapheme and therefore in one sound box. Number 7. There may be more letters and sounds in some words because of digraphs and trigraphs. There may be more letters and sounds in some words because of digraphs and trigraphs. Is this true or is it false? The answer is true. A digraph are two letters that make one sound. A trigraph is three letters that make one sound. A digraph is two letters that make one grapheme representing one sound. And a trigraph are three letters that make one grapheme that represents one phoneme. So yes, there may be more letters than sounds in some words because of digraphs and trigraphs. Number 8, all letters in a one-syllable word or word part make a sound and therefore will need a box. All letters in a one-syllable word or word part make a sound and therefore will need a box. Is this true, A, or B, false? You're right, it is false. Because we do have silent letters in our word parts. For example, the magic E, which makes the middle vowel sound long, is not heard. The E itself is not heard, so it gets an X. We also have words that follow something which we'll learn about shortly, called the floss rule. We may have to double an L, for example, after a word, and only one of those L's will be heard, as in ball, B-A-L-L. I never have a word that just says B-A-L. I need to double my L. So that second L is not heard. Both the E, the magic E, and the L in ball would not receive a sound box. They would get an X through them because we are not hearing them. Great job. You've done so well just keeping up with me so far. So there you have it. We know all about sound boxes, Alkanon boxes, and know when to use them. We'll be using them for decoding mostly, and we will be creating our own sound boxes around the phonemes, or the graphemes, sorry, that represent the phonemes that we're hearing in our word parts or one-syllable words. The first step is always to break down our word into syllables, vowel-containing word parts or word rooms. Then we take one syllable at a time, and when we get to that syllable, we look at the beginning, the middle, and the ending. The beginning is the consonant wall, which may be double or triple or single. And the middle, of course, is our vowel sound. We only have one vowel sound per word part. And then our ending is another consonant wall, which may be single, double, or triple, or maybe we don't have an ending consonant wall. We might not even have a beginning consonant wall. But regardless, we're looking at the beginning, middle, and ending of each word part, and we're sound boxing every sound we hear. Don't forget that digraphs and trigraphs each receive only one sound box, regardless of the fact that there's 2 or 3 consonants in them. And our vowel sounds, regardless of how many letters are used to make them, only get one box as well. Well, thank you again for joining me for All About the Sound, making learning English easier with the 3P approach. and we will continue along next time with breaking down our word into syllables. Thank you again. Have a great day.